in the heart of the royal kingdom of Grand Gaia, a city known far and wide as the City of Magic. Peace had long been a treasured gift, but one day, that peace shattered, and otherworldly evil had descended upon the world. Dark creatures known only as Omega, beings from another dimension, surged through mysterious black gates that tore open the sky. Towns burned, people screamed. The kingdom fell into chaos. Among the terror-struck crowd, a small child cried out for help, clutching her mother's arm as the shadows closed in. One of the monstrous Omegas raised its claw to strike. Then, in a flash of blinding light and roaring thunder, a figure appeared before them. Cloaked in a swirling robe of stars and light, stood the strongest mage in all of Grand Gaia, the Archmage Lord Asuma. Without hesitation, Asuma raised his staff. A massive barrier flared into existence, shielding the helpless mother and child. The Omega's blow bounced off harmlessly. With one swift motion, Asuma unleashed a searing beam of light that vaporized the creature on the spot. But he wasn't done. Raising both hands, the Archmage summoned a colossal spell, a radiant storm of mana so powerful the skies trembled. In a single, breathtaking strike, Asuma obliterated the incoming waves of Omegas and sealed the otherworldly gates they came from. The battle was over in moments. The war that had plagued the world for years had ended. Humanity had won. All across the battlefield, soldiers cheered. His loyal subordinates gathered around Asuma, bowing deeply in respect. "This victory is because of you, my lord," they said. "You saved us all." Asuma smiled faintly, worn and weary, yet proud. He nodded humbly. "No, this victory belongs to everyone." Soon after, the kingdom prepared a grand commemoration ceremony. The king himself gathered with nobles, heroes, and citizens to celebrate the end of the great otherworldly war. But as Asuma stepped forward to receive his honor, everything changed. The king raised his hand not in gratitude, but in judgment. "Archmage Asuma, you are hereby banished from the kingdom of Grand Gaia." Gasps echoed through the hall. Asuma stood in shock. "What? I saved this world. Why banish me?" The king's advisor stepped forward. "It is true. You defeated the Omegas. You saved us all, but it is precisely because of your overwhelming power that you must go. You are too dangerous," the king said coldly. "With the war over and the gates destroyed, your magic is no longer needed. In fact, it threatens the balance of peace we have now earned. For the future of Grand Gaia, you must disappear." Confused and heartbroken, Asuma took a step back. He had trusted these people, fought beside them, died for them almost. But before he could protest further, he felt a strange weakness overtake him. The wine they had offered him, part of the ceremonial toast, was laced with a forbidden sealing spell. A cursed magic that slowly robbed him of all his power. His subordinates, the very ones who once praised him, stepped forward with grim expressions. "We must ensure you do not return," they said. "For the kingdom's safety. Rebellion could rise under your name," another added, "even if you don't intend it." Without mercy, they cast a forbidden spell, instant death magic, directly upon him. Asuma had no strength left to resist. He fell to his knees. As darkness closed in around him, his thoughts swirled. "Is this how it ends? After all I've done for this kingdom?" But there was no one left to answer. Asuma's body faded into light, erased from the world. The Archmage who had saved humanity was no more. Peace returned. A new era began. History moved on. And 3,000 years passed. But in a quiet forest, far from the shining towers of Grand Gaia, a flicker of light sparked in the body of a young boy. He opened his eyes wide, gasping for breath, confused, cold. Awake, he sat up slowly, eyes burning with ancient memory. "Where am I? Wait, no. I know this magic, this feeling. I'm alive. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't a trick." The banished Archmage room was suddenly filled with gasps and stunned voices. The boy in the hospital bed, who had been in a deep, hopeless coma, suddenly opened his eyes. His name, still the same, Asuma. The doctors, nurses, and even the medical machines were in disbelief. He had been in a vegetative state, with no signs of recovery. The prognosis was grim, but now he was awake, blinking, breathing, speaking. "It's a miracle," one doctor whispered. But to Asuma, it wasn't a miracle, it was magic. So, the reincarnation spell actually worked. "I'm alive again." He looked around. The strange devices, the sounds, the lights, it was a world vastly different from the one he knew. Yet, something comforted him. "Good. I can understand the language of this world. That will make things easier." Curious and calm despite the situation, Asuma turned to the nurse beside his bed. "Where is the largest library in the city?" he asked. The nurse blinked. Huh? She was stunned by his sudden question. But Asuma didn't wait. He subtly cast a mind suggestion spell, and her hesitation melted away. She gave him all the information he needed. Next, he requested his belongings. The nurse handed him a few items, including a flat, black metal object. He studied it closely. What is this? Curious, he cast analysis magic, and in seconds, the device's secrets unfolded before him. It was called a smartphone, a tool far beyond his era, filled with data, images, communication networks, and digital memory. This thing didn't exist 3,000 years ago. Magic has declined, and something else took its place: science. A cold realization settled in. This is the world I fought for. I gave everything to defeat the Omegas. For this, leaving the hospital behind, Asuma found his way to the home of the boy whose body he now possessed. The place was small and quiet, filled with silence and sadness. He searched the room and found an old diary. As he read, his heart grew heavy. So, this boy lost his family in an accident. He was bullied, humiliated, completely alone. Then he checked the messages on the phone. A group chat from Shibuya Mage Training Academy was filled with cruel remarks, mocking and harassing the boy. Asuma saw screenshots, threats, and relentless bullying. It was no accident the boy ended up hospitalized. It was a targeted attack. The next morning, Asuma walked into the academy. Whispers spread instantly. Isn't that him? How is he even alive? Didn't he try to kill himself? Among the crowd, one student stepped forward with arrogance and a smirk. Teneji Kirio, heir to the powerful flame artifact, Kirio of the Flame. Kirio was the ringleader of the bullying, the one who had pushed the former boy to his breaking point. He laughed. Back from the dead, huh? Don't tell me you came here to beg for mercy. He conjured a flame in his hand, mocking Asuma. You scared? You should be. My magic might kill you this time. Asuma stood still. Then, calmly, he looked down at his own hand. Let's test it. How much mana does this body truly have? In the next instant, the air shifted. A surge of magical pressure flooded the room. Windows rattled. Lights flickered. Students gasped as an ancient, overwhelming energy filled the space. Asuma had activated his mana. Kirio's smirk vanished. W, what is this? This pressure? It's not possible. And then, without warning, Asuma struck. The flames were crushed. The pride shattered. The Archmage had returned. And this world would soon remember his day at Shibuya Mage Training Academy. The air was filled with excitement and tension. It was time for the aptitude test, a sacred tradition that determined each student's magical attribute. This test would define what kind of magic they were suited for and shape their entire future as mages. Asuma, sitting quietly among the students, listened as the professor began calling names. Still unfamiliar with this world's systems, Asuma turned to a nearby student. She was kind and curious. Her name was Clover, a friendly girl from his class. You don't know about attributes? She asked, surprised. Asuma shook his head slightly. Clover smiled. It's pretty simple. In this era, aptitude is shown by color. Each person's mana has a color based on their affinity. She explained further. Red represents fire magic. Blue stands for water. Green is for wind. Black means dark magic, and so on. Magic flows through special paths inside our bodies called magic circuits, she said. Since our circuits have a limited capacity, most people can only handle one attribute. Asuma nodded thoughtfully. So this is how magic works now. Interesting. When his name was called, he stepped forward confidently. The professor looked at him. What attribute do you possess? Asuma answered calmly. None. The classroom fell silent. Excuse me. The professor blinked. I don't have any attribute. Asuma repeated. And I don't plan to specialize in just one. The professor's expression darkened instantly. You dare come to this academy with no attribute and no intention of following magical standards. Are you mocking the test? Whispers filled the room. In truth, Asuma's mana was colorless and extremely rare and misunderstood type. His magic didn't glow red, blue, or black. It was pure, formless, limitless. Though invisible to others, Asuma could feel its depth and power flowing freely. To the professor, however, colorless meant one thing: trash. You don't belong here. The professor snapped. Colorless mages have no future. You can't even interpret the school's emblem, which is tied to the magic of attributes. Your existence is meaningless in a world built on structure. Asuma simply smiled. I believe colorless magic is the strongest. And if you don't, let me prove it. I challenge you to a mock battle right here, right now. The entire classroom froze. Did he just challenge a professor? The professor's face turned red with anger. Fine, since you wish to be humiliated, I'll change the test from aptitude to combat. No restrictions. Clover gasped. No restrictions. That's dangerous. The professor is one of the strongest mages in the entire academy. The professor grinned coldly. I won't be blamed if something unfortunate happens. A mock battle can end with accidents, you know, but Asuma stood tall. He looked at the professor with the eyes of a warrior who had fought gods and monsters. Don't hold back, he said. Show me what passes for strength in this world. The battle began. The professor roared. Gathering mana from multiple attributes, flames, wind, and lightning spiraled around him. I'm the only one in this school who can use multiple attributes. Let's see you block this. He unleashed a powerful strike, one that would have knocked out any student instantly. But Asuma raised his hand. A transparent wave of pure mana shimmered in the air. The spell was stopped, effortlessly. Is that all? Asuma asked. The professor, stunned, attacked again, this time with even more force. But again, Asuma blocked it with ease. The entire room stood in stunned silence. How was this possible? A colorless, overpowering a top-tier professor. Asuma stepped forward slowly, calm and unshaken. You know what I want, he said coldly. Confess. All of it. The pressure in his voice forced the professor to his knees. Sweating and terrified, the man broke down. I saw you being bullied, he admitted. I looked away, even when you came to me for help. I ignored you. I even hit you. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone report him to the headmaster. One student shouted. Asuma looked down at the professor. So tell me, how does it feel to lose to a colorless like me? The professor couldn't speak. The academy had just witnessed something no one thought possible. A colorless mage had shattered every expectation. And this was just the beginning. Me buzzed with shock and disbelief. Students whispered among themselves, their eyes following Asuma as he walked calmly through the corridors. Is that really Asuma? He's completely different. That can't be the same guy who was in a coma. The timid boy who had once been bullied mercilessly was gone. In his place stood someone confident, powerful, unshakable. Asuma walked over to Clover, who had quietly watched the mock battle unfold. Thank you, he said sincerely. Can I ask you for a favor? Clover blinked. Sure. Asuma smiled. I'd like a day out. Can you show me around? Clover blushed slightly. What? A day out? Like a date? Asuma tilted his head, confused. Oh no, I meant just the school building. Clover laughed awkwardly. Oh, of course. Yeah, I can do that. Asuma thanked her again. And the two made their way toward the magic analysis room, a specialized area where students could study their own mana patterns, analyze spells, and train using recorded data. You know, Clover said as they walked. You really don't seem like the same Asuma. He paused for a moment. Is that so? Yeah. Your aura feels completely different. Are you really, you? Asuma gave her a calm smile. I've been in a coma for a while. I don't really remember much from before. It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the full truth either. It's too early, he thought. This world isn't ready to know I'm a regressor. Not yet. Later, inside the magic analysis room, Asuma sat alone, surrounded by advanced instruments and glowing data screens. He placed his hand on the mana reader and began his research. He wasn't interested in just understanding this era's magic. He wanted to rebuild it. So this is modern magic. Refined, efficient, but shallow. It lacks the depth of the ancient spells I once mastered. He closed his eyes, summoning memories from a time long forgotten, spells that could turn oceans to ice, rewrite fate, or silence an army with a whisper. He began comparing them to what this world now called cutting edge. No, it's not enough to revive the past. I'll combine both.
And that wraps up today's chapter. If you're still thinking about that cliffhanger, don't worry, me too. The next episode is going to be even crazier. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. And if you have any theories or just want to talk manhwa, hit the comments. I read all of them. If you liked the recap, drop a like. It helps more than you think. But until next time, stay chill and keep reading.